Hey guys, it's me, Pivots Queen, and we are back for another chart breakdown. I am here to break down Euro USD, and this is actually my second time recording this. I recorded it earlier, but it felt like it was too long, and I didn't want to give you guys like an hour-long video, just to break down charts. So we're doing this again. I'm gonna try to simplify, maybe everything I talked about before. But we will be looking at two charts this or today. It is Sunday evening, so the market actually just opened up. We're gonna ignore how the market gapped open for a second. But I'm still gonna break down everything that I was looking for, and we will go from there. Um, Before we get started, did want to point out there's news every day this week. It is pre-NFP, so it could be a little volatile. We could see price kind of consolidate in anticipation for NFP. So make sure you just take things slow and take things step by step, zone by zone. Um, Basically, the biggest things I know ADP is on Tuesday. That's usually a big one. And then Wednesday is a Fed interest rate decision and a Fed press conference. So whether the Fed decides to increase or decrease or keep the interest rates the same, is going to really have a big impact on the market. So just make sure you're aware of the news coming out this week and the time frames that is coming out. So you're not trading as news is coming out, or you're not surprised if you see some volatility due to news. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about our last analysis. I would say last week, but I think I did this analysis closer to the beginning of the month. Price was in a zone, and we were waiting for price to break out of a zone, to let us know what direction we were going to move into. If price broke above the zone, we were looking for price to come and retest this trend line. If price broke below the zone, we were looking for sales down to the next zone. And if that zone was broken, we were going to look for sales down further. Price ended up kind of just consolidating in this range for most of the month. But price ultimately did come back and retest this trend line, maybe not in the area we were expecting. But price did come back and retest that area. And then ultimately ended up moving to the downside. So that's like a refresher of what we talked about last. Um, Within the consolidation, if you recognize structure, you could still find trades in this area. But I'm really just trying to talk about the overall move, so you can have an idea overall where the market could go. I can say it hasn't been the most fun trading in this range. I haven't really taken too many trades myself because I do like to trade off the higher time frame. And it really just wasn't very much movement. I did get a couple trades in just following structure, but as long as you know higher highs, higher lows is uptrend, lower highs, lower lows is downtrend, then you're good to go. So right now on the higher time frame, I'm on the 4 hour. I could even move up to the 1 hour just so you can see that we are in currently selling market structure. We have a high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And this just created a lower high. So now the question is, are we going to create a lower low? Are we going to pull back some more? Maybe, pull back into this area, test this trend line, and then move to the downside. They are all possibilities. But market structure wise, we are in selling market structure. To me, I wouldn't say that selling market structure would be broken until maybe we break above this high. Um, and honestly, if we have this consolidation zone, price hasn't really moved too much out of this range. So I would like to see price move down, kind of break out of this range. But for right now, if price breaks above that high, we could trade back within this range up to this higher time frame trend line. So, higher time frame, if price does break that, that's what I would be looking for. As far as the sales go, this blue box that I have down here is our daily low. So if we drop down, if we happen to see price break below this daily low, then I would say we could see price sell down. Ultimately to this major zone down here would be my overall target. But you still want to make sure you take things on the zone. So my very first target is this first zone. And if price breaks that zone, then I will look to take it further. So that's for the sell setup. So, let's see. I thought I had a fib. Maybe I don't. Okay, that's fine. Basically, I'm waiting to see what I think we could see is price. And we did have a gap up, so that'll still count too. But basically, price pull back a little bit, maybe come back to this trend line, and then sell down. That's what I think we could possibly see overall this week. Um, and then the question would be like, how do I know when to get in? When this starts forming some more structure, you can just draw a minor trend line to the upside and wait for that trend line to break, wait for some type of break of structure, for confirmation, and that's how you'll know when to get in. Um, but as for right now, it might be just easier to wait for the breakouts. Um, our last high was here, right? So that's kind of like my structural point. Yeah. So it's like my last 1 hour high. So if price breaks above this high and breaks out of this trend line to the upside, then I would look for buys to this major 4 hour zone, right? Then if price breaks that zone, I'll be looking for buys. I showed you guys on the daily. Um, up to this overall trend line. So let me draw. If we break that level, then I'll look for buys higher. Right? It's always if then. Because I can't predict where the market's going to go, but I can react to what the market shows me. So if I see a break of that level, then I will look for buys higher. But right now we are within selling market structure. So I would be more inclined to wait for the sell setup. I do think we're going to get a pullback of some sort, so I think that's what we're going to witness first. But I really want to know how price is going to react, kind of in this area, where this trend line is in this area. I also could just wait for price to break out to the downside, and I could take entries there as well if I don't want to watch price in this area. But essentially, now that I know what I'm looking for, all I need to do at this point is set alerts. So I could set an alert at this level. I'm just dragging my cursor where there's a plus sign on that right hand side of my chart. I'm clicking that. I'm adding an alert, and I'm gonna change it to every time so I know when price is crossing that level. I can also set alerts. It's usually better if you use like a horizontal ray or even a horizontal line. Because then I could set my alerts, add an alert to crossing up, and I could set it for per bar close. So I know when price is crossing this area and when it actually closes above that area. That's helpful too, so I don't get notified too early because price could come here and just form a wick and move down. So maybe I just want to know when price actually closes that level. That's one way to set your alerts too. I can also set an alert on this trend line. So I'm gonna add an alert to this. And again, I can know when it's crossing per bar close, and I'll get an alert for that as well. So I have an alert set at my areas of interest. I'm just gonna leave my alert on the trend line because that'll let me know if we're approaching that zone as well. So I'll know when to come back and look at this, and that way I don't have to really stare at my charts and I'm set up for the week. And then just to zoom out so you guys can see if we break this level, looking for buys. Otherwise, we're waiting to see how price reacts at this trend line. If we end up Respecting like this zone, this trend line, this area, then we're gonna look for moves to the downside. And then we also have the option of just waiting for that daily level to break and look for sales once price breaks below that low. Right, so that felt really quick, but hopefully you followed along and you understand what it is that we're looking for Euro USD. Um, and now I'm gonna switch because the second pair I decided to mark up was NAS 100. I used to trade this pair all the time. Um, I haven't been as much lately, but I do want to get back into it. So, let's take a look. I'm hiding everything because I actually did a top-down analysis on this. So I'm gonna walk you through it completely. So you could see like my entire thought process. And essentially how I mark up all of my charts. I always do a top-down analysis to start. With EU, I haven't really showed you guys a top-down because it's not as clean once I get to trading. But please believe I do a top down on every pair before I start trading. So a lot of times once you've done it, sometimes the stuff is already on my chart. Cross the initial line already. Okay. It's already on my chart, so I don't have to add anything new. But this is fresh, brand new, clean chart for NAS 100. And we are starting on the monthly time frame. So the higher time frames, like the monthly, the weekly, the daily, I'm really looking to capture the trend and any important levels of support and resistance. So you can see on the monthly, I can see that we're uptrending. So I have my monthly channel, and then I have the major support as the last low on the monthly, and the major resistance as the last high on the monthly. Now, when Nas was creating this all-time high, that's really when I took a break from trading it because I'm a trader who likes to look left. I like to look at the past. And when we're creating all-time highs, there's no past for me to go back to look at. So I've really been patiently waiting for price to kind of pull back and I could have some structure to play with so I can like trade with that. So that's why I waited so long to trade Nas. Now we're getting a nice pullback, so hopefully we can stay in this area so I can have some structure to play with. But once we break above this major resistance, we're back in that all-time high territory. So I probably will take another pause from Nas because I cannot gauge how far it's gonna go without some previous structure to rely off of. And I know it's not gonna shoot up forever, but it's hard for me to find where those stopping points are gonna be if price has never been there before. So hope that makes sense. Basically, on the monthly, I can see it's uptrending and I've marked my major support and resistance. So now we're going to drop down to the weekly. And for the weekly, we have a pretty similar channel from the monthly and the weekly. And normally when they're this close, I kind of just pick one because I like my charts to be neat. I don't want too much clutter on my charts. But I did want to show this weekly just to show that price is approaching like that middle of the weekly, and sometimes in the middle of a channel we can see price bounce or consolidate. So I did want to mention that. I put that in my little top down box here. So I made note of it, but I'm pretty much just gonna go ahead and hide my weekly because it's pretty similar to my monthly. And then oops, daily. Let's see what I have for my daily. Okay. Daily, I did not draw a channel. If I were to draw a channel, it would kind of be on this area that's here. But I captured that on the lower time frames. So I left the daily channel blank because again, I'm not trying to clutter my chart too much. But I did make note of this was the previous high of the daily. That level was broken, but it was never retested. So long term, I would be looking to see if price would come back to retest this level. I also noted where the all-time high was. I noted this with the red box just so it would stick out to me and I would notice it. Um, just so I'll know if price breaks above that level, we're heading back into the all-time high territory, and I might just have to pause from trading NAS. So I want to make sure I know when we're in that area. Um, but that's all the information for the daily. Oh, and then I would consider daily still uptrending, but we are getting close to an important level that could indicate that price is changing trend. And we'll explain that a little bit more on the next time frame. So now I'm going to pull up the 4 hour. And for the 4 hour, okay, zooming out here a little bit. So you can see the 4 hour channel kind of captures what I was talking about on the daily as far as that channel goes. And price has broken out of that channel to the downside, and it looks like we're starting to break below like our last major 4 hour low area. So with that break, that indicates it could be a possible break of structure, and we could be changing trend. Okay. Sorry, guys. Kita just woke up from her nap. So you might hear in the background she's a little cranky. She's with Dada, but she is a little cranky when she first wakes up. So, 4 hour, we could be seeing a break of structure. And it does look like price is starting to make lower highs. But the break of this low would really indicate the change of trend. So I would say that this is still uptrending, but we're kind of transitioning. And I would love to see, just to confirm, just a strong push away and then a retest and then a continuation, to really confirm that change of trend. Um, oh, and then also for the 4 hour, before we move on, I do have a fib from this low to high point. And so I'm interested to see if price will kind of come back into this 61.8 area, to retest that daily like level that hasn't been retested yet, and then possibly bounce up. Um, Again, that's kind of like a longer term move, and the focus for this week would really just be this move down to this area. That would be like my main focus. And then we'll just see what price does once we get to that area. But that's 4 hours, so 1 hour. So for the 1 hour, I would say that we are definitely downtrending. Um, Price broke out of that channel. We're making lower highs and lower lows. Um, so I would say that we are downtrending on the 1 hour. And so based on this, I would expect price to kind of pull back and then continue with the trend that is in, unless we get some type of break of structure to indicate otherwise. Um, and that's all I really have for the 1 hour. So 30 minute, I did get a little bit more detail. Um, which time frame did I have this one? Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember what I had drawn out because I knew I had it marked up. So what I'm looking for, um, essentially, I'm looking for price to pull back, either back to this 4 hour zone or a little deeper. This was the last kind of level on the M30. That was like the last floor. So price could come back and retest that area, and then proceed to move to the downside. What would make me stop looking for sales would be um, the break of this high that's here. If we see price break that high, I will look for buys to the top of this channel, then wait because price could respect the channel and then move down. But if we see price break out of that channel to the upside, I'm just going to use my zones as stopping points so I could see price going there. Um, but I really wouldn't be buy beyond that all-time high because again, you don't know how far price is going to go. But there is a possibility price could move to the upside if we do break that previous high point. But if that level is respected, then I will continue to look for sales until I get that breaker structure. If I don't get that breaker structure, then sales for the go. But what I really think we could see based on my top-down analysis is some type of a pullback and then continuation. And then the market hasn't opened yet for Nas. So this could gap. So keep that in mind. We could have to adjust this fib. It could gap down lower. So we might have to adjust this fib. This is just like a current fib for a current price. But I will adjust if needed once the market opens. Um, but essentially that's it. That's what I'm looking for Nas. I'm looking for a pullback and a continuation. Um, if I don't get that, then I probably won't be watching it. I will set an alert probably on both of my trend lines. So I could set an alert on this M15 and I could set an alert. This dash line is a 1 hour. And so I can know when price crosses those levels. Um, and I know when to come back and look at the chart. Otherwise, I'm not going to sit and watch it. I'm just going to let the market play out. And then if it ends up dropping and it doesn't pull back, then it's just not going to be an entry for me. I need that pullback first, before I get in. So hopefully all of that made sense to you. And hopefully I didn't overtalk or overteach. Um, if there's other pairs that you guys want me to take a look at, please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I do keep my eye on GBP USD and I watch gold. So if those are pairs that you're interested in, comment down below and I can add them to our chart breakdowns. Um, I am going on vacation at the beginning of next month, so the videos might be slow at the beginning of the month, but I do have a couple mindset videos prepared for you guys, so be on the lookout for those. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video and happy trading.